Hello, angel babies. Welcome or welcome back. How are you doing? My name is Trisha, and this is Trisha's Temple. I am excited for this reading. I feel like there is a thaw going on. But sometimes when you start to thaw, it can be a little bit scary. You can start to have a little bit of apprehension or nervousness, like, oh no, now I have to do something. And so I want to look at what parts of you are feeling nervous or skeptical about the spring on the horizon, that are feeling a little bit attached to the winter that you are experiencing, and how to approach this transition with more gentleness and self-compassion. First, my first question, I wrote down a list of questions for us to look at, is what part of you is still frozen? What part of you might be bracing or holding or feeling like, okay, well, things haven't gone my way in the past, so maybe I should just kind of stay in this frozen state for a while longer. Maybe if I open myself up again, things are just gonna go haywire. Sometimes when you say those like typical idioms or wordings, you're like, what does that even mean? Okay, the words that are coming out are strength and self-esteem. What a combo. Eh? And isn't that the truth for all of us? That these are the two things that kind of keep us from opening ourselves up to the world again. That we feel like, am I strong enough? Like, can I really do this? Do I really have what it takes? Just that, like, believing in yourself, believing that you can be the president of the United States like you thought you could when you were a little nugget, or that you could be a queen or an astronaut or whatever it was that you thought you wanted to be back when you were a child. And not only that you could be, but that you would be damn good at it and you would have so much fun doing it, that it would be the highlight of your life to explore space or to lead the country or whatever else it was that you aspired to be. It's interesting when you ask a child, like a little one, what they want to be, they'll say things like, I want to be a dinosaur, or I want to be a chair. I want to be like things that are like more abstract or fantastical. They don't adhere to anything that is necessarily like of this world. And I think that you, in your thawing experience, what you might be bracing up against or holding or withholding, the energy that you might be withholding, is a belief that you can kind of color outside of the lines and get your hands dirty again. That maybe there is something that you have been itching to do, and it's not quite time yet, but that it's okay for you to even picture yourself doing it. Picture yourself in the clouds again. Okay, my next question is, what did the winter teach you? What wisdom are you taking from this time that you've spent wintering? Whether that's just been a shorter season or from past winters, from winters past, along the way, times when you have had to close yourself off a little bit more, or felt like you have gone into hibernation a bit more. When the self-introspection became the focal point of your energy. Hello? Do you have a message? A little bug just landed on my windshield. Hello, bug. Dependence. Now I'm hearing the song Miss Independent. That's a great song. So I think that something that you are taking from this wintering season, and maybe from winters past, is that you don't have to do everything on your own, and that you have been learning how to ask for help. You've been learning how to better receive. That maybe your relationships in the past were a lot of you give, but not always you know how to receive in return. And perhaps there were people who would have been able to give to you. Perhaps they were not. Maybe you were in relationships where you were with people who more into the receiving and not into the giving, or at least in certain ways they weren't. And now you are building more reciprocal energetic relationships, and not just with people, but with rituals that you've built for yourself, with maybe even like food that you choose to eat, or whatever types of things that you enjoy consuming. Like maybe there were times in your life when you felt like everything was draining you, and now you're finding ways to fill your cup. And I'm actually getting super warm in here, which is nice. It's been very cold. I'm thawing as we speak. Okay, the next question is, what fear arises when you imagine moving forward again? What is the like that comes up? And it might be like more subtle than that, but it could be kind of prominent. Could be a range. Let's see. I'm hearing it could be more than one thing. One more. Okay, here we go. Support. So I think that you have felt like this actually kind of mixes well with the strength card for me. Of, will you have enough strength? Will you have enough support? I think that one of your big concerns or fears that might be coming up for you is right now you might feel fairly well resourced, or like you can handle the things that are on your plate. But if you move forward into this next chapter, season, expanding into something new, like taking on a new project or starting a new relationship even, will you feel like you are able to support yourself? Do you trust yourself to carry yourself through this next wave of opportunity and challenges and lessons that come up, things for you to learn? Do you believe that whatever comes your way, you'll be able to handle it, and that you will support yourself, but also that you will have people around you supporting you because of the things that you have already been doing in this wintering season, the seeds that you've been planting that are going to be blooming, blossoming, and providing even more support. That, like, for example, like let's say that you were starting a new relationship, that this relationship might come with more responsibility, more challenges, but it also comes with more support. Or let's say that you wanted to start a new business opportunity, that maybe it does come with more responsibility and planning and challenges, but would it also come with resources and support? Would you have what you needed to be able to figure it out along the way? And maybe something that you're doing is looking back at the times when you didn't think that you would be able to do it. Sometimes something that I'll do is look back at, like, when I was a little kid, or not even that little, like a teenager, and how overwhelming something seemed to me, how insurmountable, and like I would never make it through. And now where I am. And if I were to go back, how I would handle that thing. And that doesn't mean that that version of me when I was 16 or 21 didn't have the right to be overwhelmed or nervous about whatever that situation was. But it does mean that I found a way, I found the resources, I solved my problems, and I made it through, and that the likelihood of me doing that again is probable. And I think that the same is true for you, that you have supported yourself through a lot. I just saw 1717. That you have believed in yourself even when maybe other people didn't. Okay, now I want to switch and look at the signs of the thaw. I have a tarot deck for that. This one's such a fun deck, but it has a box inside of another box, with that box inside of another box, and I will ship it to myself, and then I will smash it with a hammer. Okay. My first question is, what desire inside of you is quietly returning? So what dream or opportunity to create something, what desire is it that you are returning to, or having for the first time even? Although in some ways I think that we are returning to our desires, even if they feel new. It's kind of like we're uncovering the layers of ourselves. Okay. Oh, the Ten of Pentacles. I think that you are somebody who really desires legacy and community and like that. I mean, you can see it right here on this card. like the beautiful family experience. And it doesn't even have to be like as traditional as mom, dad, sister, brother, rover. It can be whatever family means to you. It can be your soul tribe. But I think that you have been creating a foundation for that within this winter without even realizing it. And the thaw, the spring that's coming, is reminding you that it's not as far out of reach as you might think. And that in many ways you've already been living the dream, so to speak. I don't know, how do I want to explain this? Like, that you don't have to place some mile marker of your happiness out in front of you and be like, I won't be happy until I have five kids and a house and a dog and this certain type of car, or like whatever on your bucket list, checklist. You are choosing happiness now in like very little ways. And the signs of the thaw are in those little things, in the way that your body is experiencing pleasure in little things, like the way that it feels to get into the warm water of the shower, or the sun on your face when you open the curtains in the morning, or the way that it feels to stretch before you go on a walk or a run, or the way that it feels to talk on the phone to somebody that you love. All of these like little tiny details are your happily ever after. Okay, what would it feel like to approach this desire with more curiosity and like what is the next step type of a vibe? It's making me think of like when you play hot lava as a kid, which, like, if you don't know what I mean, it's like where you pretend that certain parts of the ground are the hot lava, and then you're like jumping from maybe like cushions or paving stones, whatever parts of the floor or the ground, and trying not to land in the hot lava. And I think that you have a very creative mind. Okay, the Ace of Swords. So I recently learned that this card can be like an epiphany. And that's the word that came to mind when I first saw it. I think that you are experiencing more epiphanies. You're having more of those like aha moments and making connections, and they're feeling like I don't know, you're just reveling in them, you're appreciating them a lot, really embracing that feeling of I value the things that I've experienced and how they fit together in this puzzle and story of my life. And maybe they don't matter in the grand scheme of anything else, but I love learning these things about me. I saw something the other day and a girl said, "I am so weird." And the more that I get to know all of these weird details about my life, the weirder I get, and the weirder I just like can express myself. And it's easier for her to know which people are for her and which people are not, because when you just are more completely and authentically yourself and express yourself with that type of clarity, then it's gonna weed people out that just can't handle that. And I think that that is something that you are having more curiosity or experimenting with is, what's it like when I show up in my weirdness in this environment? Who can handle it and who can't? And not in like a vindictive or like kind of way, but I mean, maybe a little. Maybe you're just like, well, like if you can't handle it, then sorry, you're missing out, because I'm awesome. I'm super fun. All right. All right. Next question is, how can you re-engage with creation a little bit more? I think that sometimes in our wintering seasons, which maybe this wasn't the case for you, but can be for me, it's a bit harder to create in the same ways. We're not quite as bold with our strokes, if you catch my drift. Can be a little bit more tentative, or just not be as open with sharing what we've created. So maybe you have been creating. Interesting. The devil's in the details. I think maybe something that you have been or could be doing is kind of retroactively going through things that you were already creating. So maybe you were writing in your journal or making voice notes or doodling in your sketchbooks or something like that. And something that you might be doing now that you're thawing is going back and then reimagining those projects, taking that work and turning it into something new, different, something that you could share, something that feels more complete. And not that those things were not complete, but that they were maybe a bit more raw. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily want the general public reading my journal. Whereas if I took something from my journal and turned it into a poem or a sonnet, is a sonnet like a type of poem, or is it a song? Maybe a combo? But turned it into, like, reimagined it, turned it into a letter, like an open letter, or turned it into a story even, then I might feel like I could share it. And maybe you're not even doing this with the intention to share it with the masses. Maybe it's just for yourself, just for the purpose of creating, enjoying. There's this quote that says something like, "It's sad that as humans we have turned dancing and singing and writing into things that we do to be good at, instead of just things we do because we're humans." Just like birds sing and fly and tweet, or cows moo, humans write and sing and dance. And all of those are integral and necessary to the human experience as a means of connecting to our soul. What is a way that you could more fully or better honor your pace at this season, at this juncture, from in your thawing? Oh, I love this death card. Excuse me. Throat chakra. I think that what you can do to honor your pace right now is to allow the parts of you that don't want to come into the next season to die, to be released, to be buried. And maybe you create a little ritual to say goodbye to them and to thank them for how they have served and protected you. A way that you could honor your pace at this time is oh man, this song that just came into my head is "Count your many blessings, name them one by one." And I think that, like, I think gratitude's great, but less yawning. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about release and not expecting yourself to move more quickly than you're ready for. Let's maybe get a clarifying card on that. Or your pace. The Tower. These are some big energies. Yeah, I think that it's okay for you to acknowledge the challenges that you have faced. That I think you might have a tendency to just be like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Other people deal with harder stuff all the time, and maybe that's true. Maybe other people in other places are really struggling in other ways, but that doesn't discount the ways that you are struggling, the towers that you have faced, and how you have chosen to get back up again and keep going. And maybe it didn't always look super pretty. Maybe it was a bit hectic at moments. A bit like, why am I even doing this? What's the point? And every time that you honored those parts of you that were coming up, that were saying, hey, this really sucks, this is really hard, you were breaking cycles, you were moving out the prisoners of war, which is maybe a really horrible way to say that, but what it, like, the energy is like when you feel trapped inside of yourself, and I think that you are taking the time to respect and honor those, all aspects of you, not just the pretty easily palatable aspects. Okay. The last question I have is, what does your body need right now? How can you stay connected to your body? Okay. Oh, the world. This is like up, except just one giant hot air balloon. You know, this makes me think that you have a way of zooming very far out and looking at things from the grand, big perspective, as well as zooming very, very far in to the microscopic, the atom, and the teensy weensy little minute perspectives, and all, like, you've got range. And I think one of the things that you are practicing in this thawing season is how to be in the first person perspective, the feet on the ground, eyes looking through your eyes, what's happening right now. What are you doing in this moment? Maybe you're even like sometimes narrating what you're doing when you're doing it to help with that. Reminding yourself, hey, I like cheese. Okay, my favorite's Gouda. And other you're reconnecting to some of your favorites. These are a few of my favorite things. Maybe you're even writing a list of some of your favorite things. When it comes to that, like going back through journals, maybe it's not even just journals from this recent winter, but past times when you were doing well, to remember things that you loved. What were your favorite foods? Was your favorite music? What was your favorite animal? And just like re-immersing yourself more fully in the world, on the earth, and allowing yourself to be in your body and experience pleasure. Appreciate all of your senses for what they are. Yeah, I'd love to know the ways that you are experiencing this thaw. And if you would like a more personalized reading and support on your individual journey, let me know. Check out the links below. Thanks so much for being here. Love you. Bye.